It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. Hope you guys had a great week. My week was actually quite good, which has been a very lovely change from how things have been as of late. If you watched the last Saturday night special, well, you know what's up. You know what's up. I gotta say a genuine thank you to everybody that left a nice comment there and has been very supportive. Thank you very, very much. It really does mean a great deal to me to see that people value this content, this project, the website, all of those things. And yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you for everybody who has decided to join over on Patreon. The support really goes a very long way in making the content happen, seeing as how YouTube wants to give me 1/100th of a penny for making these videos now. That said, I had just a good time hanging out in the shop this week and working on some different projects. Did a little bit of cutting, which that's fun, just to go do something because you want to, because you enjoy spending time out in your shop. Is this not going to focus? There we go. Okay, I cut this Mexican coconut, and that is what it looks like, entirely dry. And here it is polished. Look at that. Very cool. Happy with this. So we have some chalcedony on the outside, and we have that kind of cool almost holographic effect going there. And then a big quartz pocket. Big quartz pocket. And yeah, you know, it's just nice to spend some time out in the shop, screwing around, doing some cutting. The Oregon coast has been absolutely great. Finding all kinds of awesome things, you know, different fossils, Trito wood, lots and lots of very cool pieces. A couple of things have been interesting about the experience out there. It was very different than what we are used to. I'm used to. You know, we go to places out in the desert. We spend this time kind of, you know, digging holes, walking out. Going to the coast was interesting in that there's this consistent renewal of the beaches with high tides. Now, it's not every high tide because high tides vary, and, you know, the high water mark isn't consistently hit in the winter or in the fall, spring, whatever. But there is a high level of renewal, which means I think what we found is could easily be replicated by most people going there and looking around. You know, these kind of, let's see, that's a little fossil bone. These kinds of little agates are abundant. Focus, there we go. These kind of little agates are abundant. And the Trito wood was very cool. I have yet to do any kind of real cutting and polishing of the Trito wood, but it's still a fun one because it's very different than what we're used to. And of course, the agatized shells are also quite fun. Yeah, it was a big learning experience going out there. There are a couple of other beach videos to come, and yeah, I am very happy. We will be returning out there. One thing that's nice about going to the coast is if you go to a beach and there is no rock, there's so many beach access points in Oregon where you can almost drive down the road, a quarter mile, half mile, 2 miles, and find another beach access point and just walk to some rocks. So although you might go to some of the localities that we visited, and you might have a very different experience. You go there and sand has been pushed in and there's nothing. You can simply go to the next beach access point, which is very cool to see. One thing that came up was, I think several times I referred to beach glass as trash, and well, I think I heard from a couple of people that are very, very into the beach glass, because they definitely reassured me that it was in fact not trash, and I hear them there. I mean, that is kind of something that we have came up to a number of times, not just with the glass, but at what point does garbage become artifact? Is there an age? Is there a point in time where you're like, well, you should probably leave it versus throw it away? If I saw a beer can sitting on the beach, I would, like a modern beer can, I would pick it up and throw it away. If I saw that if I see beer cans or old cans out in the desert, I'm like, well, I'd probably leave them, not modern ones, but you see these ones that are rusty, that were, had a pull tab, something like that, like an old mining camp. I'm like, well, you should leave that. But where's that line between collectible garbage and artifact? I don't know if there is a line. I guess it's like one of those things where you know it when you see it, unless there is some kind of like hard and fast rule as to what to pick up and what to leave. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'm curious, like at what point do you just pick it up and you call it garbage and you chuck it, These things I've gotten a bunch of questions about. I think we should talk a little bit about those cases, because every time we go somewhere and I show these fabulous little boxes that I mount stuff in, it inevitably comes up that people are curious as to what they are, where to get them, and there's a lot of places to get these. This is called a perky box. So, hold on, I'll grab a tape measure real quick. Give you some exacting dimensions here. About 1.5 inches on the outside, about 1.5 inches-ish. I believe we are, 1.25 inches on the inside. And I get these in bulk from a company called Tucson Store Fixtures. They're a very good company. I'm not associated with them all, but I just find that they generally have the best deals, including the shipping and all of that. And it's a perky box. So I mount stuff in here with a mineral tack product onto the foam, and it holds very well. Look at that. So that's what those are. And then also for even tinier specimens, I use this. This is a P1 micro mounting box. A P1. It has a little lid. And there's a lot of different means in which you can mount these, like a paper liner. You can paint them, you glue specimens in, you can set a specimen in, and you can be like, done. You don't have to do it like that. It's nice to secure these things so they aren't bouncing around in here. But those are two kind of important aspects for me personally to maintain all of this stuff and label all of this stuff, because I do make these little labels and they go in the back here, just like that, and that's how these go in a display case. And I think the curation of the collection is quite important. What is the difference between, how to explain this? The difference between a painting and art is the curation of it. I mean, you can have the greatest paintings in the world that nobody has ever seen, rolled up, canvas rolled up, sitting in a tube, and it's not really artwork, it's just a painting that nobody sees. Similar, without curation, curation of these things, well, you just have a rock, you just have a mineral. Having the name, the locality, that type of stuff is important. And I think it gives a level of depth to the hobby that otherwise I think you might be missing out on. Well, I guess the counter argument there is that, well, I'm into the rocks, I'm not into boxes and labels. And that's fine. You know, everybody gets to do as they please with this hobby. I'm just, you know, I'm of the opinion that kind of organizing and labeling and being able to go back and be like, oh, this came from this beach and this came from this beach. That is a, I mean, they came, you know, came with Beverly and Moolac. It's nice to be able to look back upon that and have it for your kind of own reference points. There are some good books out there kind of on the subject of curation. Although this is a book about micro mounting, it is one of the more affordable ones. There is a much larger book on the subject of micro mounting, which, although much better, and it delves into the history of the hobby of tiny rocks and minerals. This one's more accessible, and it's quite good. You know, I think it just offers a lot of insight which you might not otherwise have. I mean, it does talk somewhat about, like, oh, you know, the different boxes and, you know, the value of some of these different tools and things like that you might want. Yeah, it's a very handy book. You know, it talks about, like, keeping your stuff organized. I think as you continue down the road of going rock hounding and collecting this stuff, you should try to develop some level of organization. And nothing's worse than going to somebody's house and it's just like piles. It's just piles. People forget stuff too. You know, I like these jars as well. These are jars for cosmetics that you can buy on Amazon, and I also like that as a way of just kind of taking some of these smaller things, like, you know, a pile of rocks that you might have picked up, and to be able to put them in a nice thing. So it's just good. It's good. My thoughts on it, you know, I would suggest that everybody put a little bit of time into some collection curation. We will surely be going back to the Oregon coast this fall. It's kind of a shame that the best time to visit the beach is also the time when there's the most sand and the least amount of rocks, because, well, in the summer they don't have big storms that renew and flip the rocks and stuff. I do want to go probably do like Newport South on the Oregon coast and hit the southern coast and just be like, stop after stop after stop, which that'll be really good. It'll be really good. I'm looking forward to it. I think that'll be a fun October trip. Hopefully we don't get pounded with rain, you know, but overall excited. And once again, thank you everybody who left comments and all of the support over on Patreon from the last Saturday night special. I can assure you that the project will be continuing, and we will jump right back into it with another beach video this coming week. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I will catch you on the next video.